Welcome viewers to Bodhi Unified Flow. I'm Dr. Murimuthu, your host. Here, we simplify complexity and amplify performance. Today, we're diving into a crucial, but often overlooked part of any major project, the very end. So let's start with a really foundational question. Finishing a project, it's so much more than just the last worker packing up and leaving the site. It's really about that critical moment of transition, turning a structure from just a collection of materials into a fully functional, living asset. In this explainer, we're going to break down this final, critical phase, and we'll do it by looking at two key pillars, the punch list and commissioning. By the end of our time together, you'll see exactly how these two processes work in concert to make sure a project is truly ready for prime time. Okay, let's start with something you've probably heard of, even if you're not in the construction business. It's what we call the final checklist, or, as it's more commonly known, the punch list. So, what exactly is a punch list? Well, you can think of it as the project's final to-do list. It's essentially a formal safeguard, a powerful contractual tool that makes absolutely sure every detail matches the plan before that final payment is made. And as you can see here, a punch list covers a pretty wide range of tangible, visible details. I mean, we're talking about everything from a simple paint scuff all the way to a misaligned door. Basically, if it deviates from the contract, it's going on the list. Now, this process is highly systematic. It all kicks off with a walkthrough, where the owner, the architect, and the contractor identify any deficiencies. Each issue is then meticulously documented, and nowadays, that's often with photos using digital tools and assigned to the right subcontractor. They then punch out the work, and a final verification makes sure it's all done correctly. It's a really clear chain of accountability.
But look, a project isn't just about the things you can see, and that brings us to our second equally important pillar, commissioning. This is where we test the invisible stuff, how the building's complex systems actually work together. This definition from ASHRAE, a real leading authority on building systems, gets right to the heart of it. You see, commissioning isn't just a final check. It's a quality assurance process that runs throughout the entire project, all to meet what are called the Owner's Project Requirements, or OPR. Let me put it this way. The punch list checks the car for scratches and makes sure the doors are on correctly. But commissioning is the comprehensive test drive. It's what makes sure the engine, the brakes, the climate control, and the navigation system all work together perfectly, just as the owner specified. So, what are we talking about here, really? We're talking about the building's vital organs, that integrated network of systems that make it functional, safe, and efficient. This covers everything from the HVAC and energy management systems to the fire alarms, security, and even the building envelope itself. And right here, this is the key difference. A punch list is a sprint at the finish line. Commissioning, on the other hand, is a marathon that starts long before construction even begins. The commissioning provider is there from the very start, making sure quality is built into the project, not just inspected at the end.
So we have these two different lists, two different processes, and, historically, they were kept completely separate. As you can imagine, this created all sorts of confusion, delays, and a lot of finger-pointing.
This slide really breaks down the key differences. The punch list, which is handled by the general contractor, is all about the static, visible items. The commissioning process, well, it generates its own list, often called a commissioning action list, or CAL. And this list, managed by the commissioning provider, focuses on dynamic operational issues. All that invisible stuff, like an HVAC system that just isn't cooling a room properly. The big takeaway here is that you absolutely need to resolve both of these lists to have a truly finished project. That's why the modern approach, the best practice, is to merge them. This gives the owner the contractual leverage they need to make sure everything, visible and invisible, is fixed before that final check is written.
And it truly is a team effort. This table shows how each party has a clear, defined responsibility. You have the owner who defines the goals, the general contractor managing the physical fixes, the commissioning provider verifying system performance, and of course, the subcontractors on the ground executing the work. Everyone has a role to play.
So why does all this integration of punch lists and commissioning matter so much? Well, it all comes down to one critical concept that really defines a successful handover. This right here, this is the ultimate goal. Not just a complete building, but a ready building. And what does that mean? It means all systems are working as intended, all the documentation, like warranties and manuals, are in hand, and the facility staff are trained to operate it. This is what saves an owner from incredibly costly problems and delays after handover.
And the stakes here are enormous. A messy, disorganized closeout doesn't just create operational headaches. No, it has severe financial and reputational consequences. A smooth, well-documented closeout, on the other hand, solidifies a project's success and builds that lasting trust that leads to future work.
Given those high stakes, it's no surprise that the industry is now pushing towards a proactive ideal, what they call the zero punch list.
Now, zero punch list doesn't literally mean a project with zero flaws. That's not realistic. It's about a fundamental shift in mindset. Instead of one massive, chaotic list at the end, issues are identified and fixed continuously throughout the entire project. This is done through things like rolling punch lists and integrating systems testing much earlier.
And this really leaves us with a provocative thought. By shifting from that old, reactive, find and fix mindset to a proactive, continuous culture of quality control, could we fundamentally change how projects are finished? Could we deliver better, more reliable buildings faster? It seems it's finally within our reach.
So, we've seen that project closure isn't just an endpoint. It's a strategic synthesis of verifying the seen and the unseen. By mastering and integrating both punch lists and commissioning, we ensure a project doesn't just end, it truly succeeds.
For those of you who wish to dive deeper, these resources provide an excellent starting point. I'm Dr. Marimuthu, and I look forward to simplifying more complexities with you next time. Thank you for joining us.